Like pushing someone down the stairs, huh?
That's definitely not okay, lol.
The eldest son couple laugh as they joke about such frightening things. Living in this house, I sometimes fear such a day might actually come. It was Jackson, my second son, who had been living a shut-in life since middle school, who saved me from this despair. My name is Ashley, and I'm 65 years old. I always wanted to stay young at heart, so I struggle with admitting that I'm an old woman. But no matter how much I resist, my back aches and age is age after all. Yet I think it's thanks to Jackson that I've managed to stay a lively old woman till this age. I have two sons, Aiden, my eldest son, and Jackson, my second son. After my husband passed away in an accident when he was young, I raised the two of them alone. Back then, the image of a single parent was not well regarded, and I think my children go through hard times. So when they both became adults, I was overwhelmed with joy and a sense of accomplishment that I couldn't help but cry. One day, I got a call from Aiden, who had moved out to the neighboring town and was working at a car maintenance company.
I want to introduce someone I want to marry.
That's what he said. Actually, I knew very well who Aiden wanted to marry. It was Noah, who had been dating Aiden since high school. Noah often came over to our house, and I accidentally caught her on Aiden's bed once.
Make sure you treat him right.
I remember saying that sternly. Thinking that these two were finally getting married was deeply moving. Nowadays, I live by working part-time at a supermarket, but when my sons were students, I had to juggle multiple jobs. I was busy from morning till night. When I returned home from meals between jobs, I often found Noah, who had come to visit, cooking for me and my sons, proving she was a trustworthy partner. Of course, I had no objections to Noah and Aiden's marriage, and the meeting to discuss their wedding was conducted in a cheerful atmosphere. However, there was one concern aside from that. During the meeting, Noah, Ashley, and Aiden were completely relaxed, just laughing and enjoying a lavish meal. In the midst of this, Aiden suddenly, "Hey, would it be okay if we live together here after we get married?" He suddenly brought it up.
Eh? Why? Doesn't Aiden have his own house?
Ashley, we're worried about you.
Me?
I heard you injured your leg a few years ago. Living alone is not good.
I'm fine. Besides, Jackson is upstairs.
But Jackson never leaves his room. It's impossible for him to support you, Mom.
No, Mom.
No, but
I could possibly tell them that the idea of living together was a bit bothersome to me. Actually, Jackson has been mostly shut in on the second floor of our house since middle school. He was harassed by classmates for being a single parent's child, which led to his mental distress. Even so, Jackson managed to attend high school despite repeated absences. But seeing people's faces made him tense and anxious, turning his face red and rendering him unable to speak. Each time he was mocked. The single parent's kid can't even look at people. And he became terrified of seeing faces. Eventually, he didn't attend high school enough and ended up in his current shut-in lifestyle. I took him to the doctor several times, but many of them held prejudiced views about single parents' children, which hurt Jackson, so I stopped taking him. Given this background, when I was injured, I relied on Aiden, who lives in the neighboring town, not Jackson, who lived with me. For Aiden, it must have been a burden. Whether his thoughts on living together are out of concern or fear of me getting hurt again, I'm not sure. Should I listen to him? I managed a wry smile to pass the moment, but after that, Aiden frequently called me asking me to consider living together. Aiden says,
Even though he's my brother, in these times when shut-ins are involved in various incidents, I don't want to leave the two of them alone.
It's true that such things happen, but I can't imagine Jackson being capable of that. Even when I was discharged from the hospital, when I brought him meals, he would say crying, "I'm sorry, I can't do anything." He's innately kind, too kind, and that's why he got hurt by others. I found it hard to believe he could ever be violent towards me. Eventually, I resigned myself and agreed to live together with Aiden when he got married. The day after the wedding, an incident occurred. For the cohabitation, I had decided to let Aiden and Noah use Aiden's room on the second floor. From that second floor, despite it being 2 a.m., I could hear loud laughter and noises. It was so loud I couldn't sleep. I hesitated to warn the newlyweds that night, so I didn't say anything. but after that, every night they would make a racket in their room. After about 2 weeks, I even had bags under my eyes.
What are you two doing in the middle of the night?
I had been careful not to say anything, but finally I asked them this question. Then they said,
We just got carried away with a dance game.
they didn't seem to think it was a big deal.
I understand having fun, but could you be a bit more mindful of the noise? The sound at night really bothers me.
Okay, we'll be more careful.
I was slightly worried about whether Noah and Aiden understood. However, that night, loud noises and commotion could still be heard. Even worse than the previous night. Could this be retaliation for my complaints? Unable to sleep again, I reached my limit and decided to talk to them once more the next morning.
I don't want to keep repeating myself, but can you be quieter at night? It's a nuisance to the neighborhood, even if the next house is far away.
Then you have trouble hearing, but you can hear those sounds.
You have trouble hearing, but you can hear those sounds.
Noah muttered with a laugh and a low voice. Aiden burst out laughing at those words, and said, "All right, we get it. We'll be careful. Let's go out, Noah." He patted my shoulder and left the room. A misunderstanding. No, that couldn't be. I hurriedly followed Aiden.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
What's up? Just leave it be.
You said I have trouble hearing, but I hear just fine.
I didn't say that.
Noah replied with a laugh. But Noah answered when I was talking to Aiden, which means he didn't say it.
I don't really get it, but maybe Mom's just tired. Okay, end of discussion. Bye then.
Saying that, Aiden and Noah got into their car and drove off somewhere. I should never have agreed to live together. From that day on, their attitude towards me changed to something cold and disdainful. Noah was in charge of cooking, but for dinner that day, she only served me a tomato that was simply cut up. It couldn't even be called a salad, just cut up. Aiden and Noah had Chinese food. Instead of reprimanding Noah for this, Aiden laughed and said, "Looks like animal feed." As if it was none of his business.
If you have a problem with me, just leave.
Then they glared at me
You're always so damn annoying.
and pushed me away. I hit my head on the table. The thought of what could have happened if I had hit my head in the wrong way still terrifies me. Ever since I injured my leg, I walk with a slight limp and struggle with balance. Facing Aiden, who is stronger and taller than me, was truly frightening. I feared that someday something worse might happen. That fear silenced me, making me unable to talk back. It wasn't just about meals.
Don't use the shower because it's dirty, Ashley.
I was told, so I only showered when they were not around. Any resistance on my part led to being pushed or pinched, albeit lightly, so I became completely scared to do anything. I wanted to kick them out, but they anticipated me stealing, so they wore the spare key on a necklace. There was no opportunity to take it from them. Without money to move and unwilling to leave this house filled with memories of my husband, I felt stuck. I knew it would be best to take Jackson and flee, but I couldn't find a way. Then one day, as I was going downstairs, I heard their laughter from the living room.
Thought we'd get the house for free, but she just won't leave.
She's so persistent. It'd be a problem if we kicked her out and only Jackson remained.
Exactly. Who wants a house with a shut-in like Jackson? So if we scare her by pushing her down the stairs, she might get frightened and think, this house is dangerous. I can't leave Jackson here. And then find a new place and leave with Jackson, right?
That's not okay.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
How terrifying. Though they claimed it was a joke, the idea of pushing me down the stairs was discussed by them with smiles. It seems that their target all along was this house, left by my late husband. They must have been aiming for it, since they proposed living together.
As I stood there, missing the moment to reveal myself, Noah noticed me and exclaimed, "Whoa!"
Damn.
They seemed panicked that I had overheard their conversation, but quickly reverted to their usual tone.
Well, that's how it is. If you don't want scary things to happen, you should leave.
He said with a laugh. Maybe I made their lives hard as a single parent, but to be told such things by the sons I loved and raised, I wasn't sure if it was sadness or anger, but my body trembled. Before I knew it, tears blurred my vision. I desperately tried not to let those tears fall to the floor. I didn't want them to see me crying.
Are you listening? Hurry up, or I might just do something like this. Just do something like this.
Saying this, Aiden pulled my arm. Startled and with my weak legs, I nearly lost my footing on the stairs. At that moment, someone supported my body.
I'll take Mom with me.
What, Jackson?
For a moment, I didn't understand what was happening. But seeing Aiden's surprised face and turning around hesitantly, there stood Jackson.
I heard the commotion and hurried out. I'm glad I did.
Jackson said, slightly steadying and supporting me.
Glad you came out? You've been a shut-in all this time, and now you suddenly show up?
I wasn't sure if it was sadness or anger, but my body trembled.
He raised his voice?
It was not surprising I was shocked too.
It's been so noisy every night that I took the opportunity when everyone was out to install cameras and listening devices in each room. Thanks to that, I know what's going on.
No, that's not what I mean. What, you're leaving your room now? This makes no sense.
You don't have to understand. So you want Mom to leave? Fine. Mom and I will leave this place together.
Jackson, I don't have any money. It's not that simple.
It's okay, trust me. Aiden, I'll take Mom. You have no complaints, right?
While calming my confusion, Jackson glared at Aiden. I couldn't help but wonder, is this really Jackson?
How is a jobless shut-in like Jackson with no money gonna take care of Mom? What? You're after the inheritance? Thinking if you play the good guy now, you'll get it all to yourself? That's a naive thought.
But regardless of the inheritance, I shared Aiden's concerns about how Jackson, without money, plans to do this. Honestly, I was anxious too.
Since we are leaving like this, it's like our ties are cut. There's no need to explain anything to Mom. Please trust me.
Looking at Jackson as he spoke, I realized something. He was making eye contact with both me and Aiden. Something he could never do before. Maybe something in Jackson had changed, and that feeling made me...
All right, I trust you.
I answered.
Good. Let's leave right away then. Everyone was surprised by Jackson's quick decision.
Without a home, seeing my anxious expression despite my agreement to trust him, Jackson said, "It's okay." Still feeling uneasy, I packed my things and left the house with Jackson. He hailed a cab and took me to an apartment.
Where is this?
This is where I have a room.
What do you mean?
I remembered that Jackson had paid for the cab fare to get here. As I stood confused, Jackson started to explain slowly.
I'm sorry for everything until now, for being a shut-in and a disgrace.
What? No, it's okay. But why all of a sudden? It's surprising.
I've always wanted to say it, but I felt I couldn't apologize properly until I became a decent person. I didn't have the confidence or courage to leave my room.
But how did you get this apartment?
Then Jackson revealed that he had been making money online all this time.
At first, he only earned small amounts by accumulating points and converting them into money. But then he started investing that money. Wanting to change himself, he met someone online and repeatedly had video calls, which helped him start talking to people again. He rented this apartment with his investment money, anticipating that I might be kicked out after noticing Aiden's strange behavior. It turns out that while we were not around, he had left his room and even visited real estate agencies. He told me about the struggle to rent a place due to his history of unemployment. Furthermore,
I actually wanted to tell you after things settled, but I started a business.
What do you mean?
I used my investment funds to start a company that creates apps and websites. I learned a lot on the internet through self-study, and since I was a shut-in, I had plenty of time. Well, for now, it's just me as the employee.
That's amazing.
today had been a day full of surprises. Jackson had grown in ways I never knew about. It's not that amazing. It's just like I've only just started, but I'll work hard, so please support me.
Of course I will.
Thus, we started our lives anew from a small apartment filled with dreams and hopes. 4 years later, Jackson's business perfectly matched the trends of the times and had grown to rent an office and employ about 40 staff members. Jackson seemed to have gained confidence. He no longer had the face of a frail shut-in. He had transformed into a respectable young man, leading his employees. Then one day, "Hey Mom, isn't it about the right time?"
You mean that thing you mentioned before?
Jackson said with a mischievous smile.
Yes, that one. The plan to retaliate against Aiden and the others.
The one I suggested when I was tipsy. Can we really use that plan? We've thought it through properly. What do you say? Shall we go for it?
Sounds good to me. So we decided to implement the plan we'd proposed in a moment of intoxication, to take back our home.
The plan was as follows. First, Jackson would use his technical skills to create a website for a lottery, offering a $20,000 prize and a hotel invitation to 2 winners. Of course, both the too good to be true lottery and the website were entirely fake. Furthermore, to lure Aiden and the others to participate, they would place advertisements in the mailbox of the parents' home. Then, having successfully lured Aiden and his group, they would win the prize and be led to believe the hotel was located on a certain mountain. While they were not around, Jackson and Ashley would sneak into their old home and take back their rightful place.
Will they really fall for this?
I was worried, but the website and ads Jackson made with full effort were so convincing that even I, who came up with the plan, might have been fooled. The day after dropping the advertisement at the parents' home, sure enough, Aiden's application came through the fake website. The hotel stay and $20,000 seemed very appealing. Although their winning was pre-decided, we set a 2-week lottery period to make it seem more realistic. 2 weeks later, we sent the text announcing their win, and the day to invite them to the hotel finally arrived. We quietly waited for them at the top of a certain mountain. Then a familiar car approached.
I can't find the hotel. Is the car navigation broken?
Noah emerged from the stopped car.
This should be the place, but there's nothing here.
Aiden followed, saying this. Now seemed like the right time. Jackson and I emerged from the bushes and I said, "Welcome." Seeing our faces, the 2 of them were shocked.
Huh?
The 2 of them exclaimed in surprise.
Why? Why are you here? Ashley? Jackson?
Did Mom and Jackson also win the hotel stay?
Seeing Aiden's carefree remark, Jackson and I burst into laughter. No, that's not it. There's no hotel.
What?
That lottery was a lie. I made it all up.
At that moment, Aiden, looking utterly foolish, asked, what about the $20,000? Is that real? Aiden asked.
No, that's fake too. Just thought of getting back at you and the others.
Why would you do something like this now?
The parents' home was built by Dad. I want it back in Mom's hands.
No way. You gave it up and left, didn't you?
Yeah, that's why I thought we should talk about it.
Seeing this, Jackson smiled and looked at Noah. Involuntarily, Noah stepped back.
Hey, Aiden, what were you planning to do with Mom on the stairs? There's a cliff over there, isn't there?
Noah, visibly shaken by Jackson's meaningful laugh, collapsed on the spot.
Come on, not that way, this way.
Jackson forced Noah to stand up and said,
Wait, let go. I apologize. Calm down, Jackson.
Aiden intervened in front of Noah.
Oh, Aiden wants to go first. Come, Manly.
It's not a joke.
When shut in, Jackson says that. Seriously, please.
It's not a joke when Shet Jackson says that. Seriously, please.
Then give me your car keys.
What?
Hurry up.
Overwhelmed by Jackson's demeanor and confused, Aiden handed over the car keys. Jackson, after receiving the keys, ran back to me, grabbed my hand, and we both got into Aiden's car. At that moment, Aiden and Noah exclaimed in shock. Jackson quickly locked the car and barricaded us inside.
Hey, what's the meaning of this?
Aiden and Noah banged on the car windows.
Do you want your car back?
I asked the furious Aiden.
Of course. This car was expensive.
I see. That house was also quite expensive when it was bought. If you return the house, I'll return the car.
That's irrelevant.
He retorted.
Is it? Jackson, please start the car.
Wait. Okay, I get it. I'll return it. Just get out already.
Such a bad attitude.
Alright, I understand. I'll return it. Happy now?
Well, since you've agreed, return the house. I'll return the car.
Fine. Get out of the car.
Goodbye then.
What?
At my signal, Jackson started the engine.
It's gonna snow later today. Wonder if they can call a cab. Plus, this mountain is famous for ghosts around here. Good luck getting home, Aiden. I'll leave the car at the parents' home.
Seeing this, Jackson drove off in Aiden's car, laughing. Behind us, Aiden and Noah were yelling loudly.
Don't mess with me. Wait.
He shouted, chasing after us through the mud, but soon disappeared from sight. It was a fitting consequence. Afterward, Aiden, in exchange for the car keys, gave up both the parents' home. Apparently, they really saw a ghost in those mountains. Aiden, more frightened than Noah, said he didn't care what happened to her, leading to a big fight between them. Struggling through the snow until a cab finally arrived, their relationship had become irreparable. The parents' home, dirtied and damaged due to Aiden and Noah's careless living, required renovation, and we made them pay for it. They were reluctant but eventually paid willingly after Jackson's threats. Until the end, Jackson never revealed his position as a company CEO, successfully making them believe that a jobless shut-in would be terrifying when angered. Jackson's company continued to thrive, and he even established a subsidiary to manage the growing workload. Jackson's wife, whom he met through work and later married, is managing the subsidiary. Unlike Noah, she is kind, competent, and I am proud of her. And like Noah, she is kind, competent, and a daughter-in-law I am proud of. Grandchildren have been born, and we transformed the house into a two-family house. We live together harmoniously, and I take care of my grandchildren. I feel immense respect for how admirably he has grown. Though the thought of my son's marriage used to be a bit traumatic, but now every day is filled with joy. Especially since, as a single parent, I was too busy to spend much time with my sons when they were little. Now I cherish the time making sweets and going to the park with my grandchildren.
Grandma.
The grandchild who fondly calls out to me is truly precious. I hope we continue to get along well as grandma and grandchild. I'll live long to witness the growth of my grandchild.